Hi, Phil here again from Spokes Education. In this video, we're going to continue looking at the business plan. So last time, we looked at the kind of fundamentals, looked at the overview, looked at the staffing and responsibilities. Now we're getting into a little bit more detail on other things. So what we've also got here, which might not be relevant to you, but just to let you know, we've got another section which is on Unfold Online. So Unfold Online is our second business, and it's a completely different company, but it is very related to Spokes Education. We're very intertwined, so we've also included information on that as well. We could have a separate business plan for Unfold Online, but because it's in the early inceptions, we've kind of bundled it all together, but eventually we'll extract that out and do something different with that. We've got a big section on marketing. So we've got a marketing plan. And again, we're looking at, this is again something we've been working on really, really hard over the last year, and something we've been really thinking lots about. It's not something we really do or have done a lot of marketing, but as you can see with these types of videos, something we want to do for a while, and it's something that we'll hopefully continue to do. And our marketing plan is not around necessarily hard sells. It's not around anything like that. It's going to be around kind of building recognition, building a really good client base, as we've already done, and now it's kind of building on that. And like I said, a lot of our business comes from referrals and repeat now. We don't do any kind of external type of marketing. We might start to do a few activities, might start doing exhibitions and things like that over time. But generally speaking, we're looking at fairly straightforward marketing things that we can do in-house with very little effort, hopefully. Well, not so much little effort, but little outlay financially. But again, we might change that over time, and within the plan we have got more money for marketing down the line. So again, we've got lots of information. Again, we broke it down year on year. So we've got market activities for this year. So we've done a new website and collateral and branding, which has been done. Our social media, again, we're starting to be a bit more active now. Again, that's not something we've done historically. PR and advertising, again, I've talked a little bit about that, and that'll be a bit more applicable to Unfolded when we get there. And then going into year two, we're going to step up video content. We've actually started that a little bit early. So we've got our setup now, and like I said, we weren't planning on doing much this year, but we've kind of jumped ahead a little bit. We've also looked, like I said, we might do some exhibiting next year, and we might look at some industry awards as well and applying for those, but we'll see. We've also put in here what we think is our unique selling points as an organisation. So we've got our values around our customer service guarantee, which is a big part of what we offer, and best practices and processes. Again, that's something we pride ourselves on, as well as kind of qualities around learning design. Our service is what I'm most proud of, and something that I think stands us out above other people. So again, I wanted to pull that out, and also looking at integrated teams. So again, working in collaboration rather than independently. So we like to work with our clients rather than for them. That's where our slogan comes from. We working with you, rather than for you. Also in that marketing thing, we've got key audience and messages. So again, thinking about your different audiences and thinking about how you approach them, and thinking about how you communicate with them. And obviously that's normally split down into, well, certainly in this sector, corporate, education, not-for-profit. Not-for-profits are our biggest sector for us. So that's something we feel like we're doing really well at. But we have got kind of thoughts and tactics on how to approach those other sectors as well. And then going into financial plans. So what I'm going to do is I'll do another video later on our financial planning, and what I plan to do in that is show you all of our outgoings and expenditures as the company has grown. So again, you get a sense of what to expect, and how much money you need to start thinking about getting in to kind of cover your ever-growing costs as you grow as a company. But what we've got again in the business plan is an overview. So we've looked at we've done some rudimentary maths. Again, sorry, I've redacted some of this information. But again, if you want to see it, then I'm happy to share that with people I know and people I trust. But what we've got essentially is looking at kind of financial planning and looking at our potential year one turnover based on our target average day rates and hour rates, looking at the percentage of time that someone can be, that someone has the capacity to bill for. And then we've got the different roles and then mapping that again. So again, we've got different people. So for example, the kind of level 2 people, would expect them to be 80% profitable. So we expect them to be predominantly working on, I don't think anyone's ever going to be 100%, but we expect those people to be predominantly working on project work. Whereas you'll see some other people who've got sort of 40%, they're more likely to be working on non-profit or non-project work. So therefore, we can only, expect to get X amount of days out of them that's billable. And I've tried to be fairly conservative with that. And then what we've done, looked at kind of salaries, and then we've kind of looked at potential earnings and mapped that against our chart. And then we can see what our potential markup is. And then you can see at the bottom here, we've got our salary costs, we've got our potential earnings based on their maximum billable time, and then we've got a potential markup. So we can see that, if everyone hits their potential, then we can make a profit of £230,000 on staff costs, basically. Obviously, that's before we factor in any other expenditures. As we've gone forward into year 2, we've looked at increasing our target average rate as we grow, and then we'll look at, we're also expecting the salaries to increase as well. So what we'll see there, again, the salary costs go up, but as do our potential earnings and as do our potential markup. And then going into year 3 again, same thing again. We've got more people now, so you can see we're going off onto the next page. But again, we've got increased salary, increased potential markup, and then increased potential earnings and increased potential markup as well. So what we've then done is put that into a profit and loss kind of table. So we've looked at year 1. So again, we can be pretty accurate with year 1 because we're nearly at the end of it now. So we end in November. So we've got our target turnover, we've got our expenditures, which again we've broken down into main categories, and we've got our pre-bonus profit. So we've factored in kind of taxes and stuff as well, and then we're expecting therefore at the moment to make around £92,000 this year in profit before we give any bonuses away. And then, like I said, we've then done some projections for year 2 and year 3. And as you can see, our turnover goes up, our expenditure goes up, but so does our profit. So again, that's some just financial mapping. It's something, again, I expect that to change significantly. When I first did my first business plan, and this is kind of our second iteration. So when I first did my first business plan, I did a 4-year business plan. And I looked back at it, and our year 4 target, we actually hit almost to the number in year 1. So again, it's something that it's not going to necessarily go this way. It could go either way, but it's something that gives you something to aim towards and something again to think about. And all being well, with if you're hitting those numbers, if you're hitting those staff numbers, if you're hitting your projection in terms of your sales, then you can kind of get a sense of what your potential earnings are. So that's the end of the business plan for now. Again, we'll continue to iterate, and we might revisit it later on. But that's it for now. If you've got any questions, as always, feel free to ask. Feel free to like and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more videos like this. And like I said, the next ones we're going to be looking at the actual details of finances, which hopefully you'll find really interesting. And I know a lot of people are a little bit scared about, or certainly interested in to sort of see how those kind of costs grow, because believe me, they do grow. So yeah, until then, take care and speak to you next time. Thanks.